Hello and welcome to the 13th episode of the Mr. Douglas Sports Show. I'm your host, as always, Corey Douglas. And as you can see, I got a special guest, my boy Jordan Ray, on the video this time, celebrating the NBA restart that's coming on Thursday. What's up, Jordan? How you doing?
Hey, I'm great, man. We got basketball. I'm happy, man. I'm just glad things are somewhat going back to normal, man. How about yourself? What's up with you, bro?
Yeah, man, I'm feeling good. I'm still working from home. I know my listeners have probably heard a lot about that. I'm still loving that. But yeah, I'm excited that we got baseball coming back, although they're having some little minor issues going on right now. But yeah, I'm happy sports is coming back, and the NBA look like they're doing it right. So Thursday night is going to be an exciting night. Let's go ahead and just jump right into it. So I guess first I just want to start with, since our world's been upside down, kind of how your life has changed. And I know you're a father. How's that been? And just kind of talk on that.
It's crazy, man. It's just like you. Me and my fiance, we're working from home, man. We got the little one here. You know, daycare has been open, but I'm not doing it. You know, I'm one of those parents that no, I'm not doing it.
Right.
You know? So yeah, my little one's here. We're working. I got a station. My fiance has a station, and she's just walking around the whole place like she pays the bills. Fatherhood is cool, man. It's a job, but it's fun, and you know what I mean. I'm just glad and blessed for my little one, and I'm blessed to still have a job at this point.
Yeah, I feel you on that. So I guess just staying on fatherhood just real quick, is there just one thing that's kind of stood out to you since you became a father that you didn't know going in, or has anything surprised you or anything like that, or anything tougher than you thought it was going to be?
Surprise. Yeah, man. The surprise is just how much your emotions play into everything. You know, as men, we're tough. We don't show emotion, but my little one had a spell where she wasn't eating, and we had to go to the emergency. And this is before COVID, thank God. But you know, she had to go, and man, you know, it was just like scary. You don't really.
Yeah.
My mom always cared for me like that, and now just to see I have a little one, you care so much about him, and it's scary when anything happens to him. So yeah, that's the biggest surprise, man, is just how much my emotions are all about her. And whenever she hurts, I hurts, and it's just we all on one string now.
Right. Well, that's good, man. And you said she's one, right?
1 year old, man, but she's going on 25.
One on going on 25. That seems like it seems like all parents say that. They have a little one that's 3 or 4, but they going on 17, 25, 35, talking back and just tearing up everything. So, yeah, I definitely understand that. And I went through it not as a parent, but as an uncle around my niece and nephew. So I definitely understand that.
Right.
So let's go ahead and just jump right into the NBA, man. Like I said, it's starting back on Thursday night. We got 2 games, Pelicans and Jazz, and then Lakers, Clippers. So I guess I just want to start with your initial thoughts on the bubble when the idea came about, and then versus how you're feeling now. Now, you know, they've been testing, no positive cases at this point. So what was your whole thoughts on that?
My initial thoughts on the bubble was I didn't think the players were going to want to do it, honestly. You know, that time frame, you know, I tell my fiance, you know, these guys are staying in little hotel rooms. They have mansions, several cars, probably several houses, most of them, you know. So just to be able so confined to that, I didn't think the guys would really, you know, be serious about it. But when LeBron said he was down, it seemed like things changed. And it's a great, you know, it's a great idea that they seem like they got it right. You know, for the most part, the only complaints I'm hearing is about the food. You know, I would have hoped that they could have got some chefs in there, but as the chefs say we're not going to stay that long to quarantine there. So besides that, kudos, you know, to the NBA and Adam Silver. I think they did a phenomenal job.
Yeah, and I think that's one thing I've been following JaVale McGee's vlogs, and he's been kind of going day in the life of the bubble every day, and just seeing some of the food that they're eating is insane. But like you, I think I was kind of skeptical at the beginning. One, I wasn't sure how many players would actually buy into the whole concept of being in a bubble. And then, like you said, when LeBron spoke up, like when LeBron speaks, the NBA world is listening. So I think once he showed he was down for it, everybody else just kind of fell in line. Now, I have heard some things, although, you know, there's no positive test. I have heard that, you know, they're sneaking in a little LA work into the bubble, and they're paying security off to let them in. So I think that's a situation to monitor as this goes forwards. But overall, yeah, kudos to Adam Silver. Kudos to the NHL commissioner too, you know, setting up their bubble. And it's unfortunate that some of these other sports like the baseball and NFL, they couldn't do that bubble. Just because I don't think it's realistic for them. But to get these 8 games in, only 22 teams, I think that Adam Silver got it right. And, I think he showed again why he's the best commissioner in the NBA. Or in the sports world, yeah.
I was a little hurt, from Atlanta, but I understand. But I kind of wanted Atlanta to get in there. I wanted to see a little bit more Trae Young. He was having a phenomenal season. But, I think, like I said, they got it right. They picked the right teams. They got the most exciting players. You knew they were going to get Zion in there some type of way.
Right.
They were going to get
the
Zion.
NBA's bending over backwards for Zion.
Yes, in more ways than one, believe me. But,
right.
I think they did a phenomenal job.
All right, so staying on the topic of the bubble, let's go ahead and just jump right into Lou Williams' situation. He was excused last week to go to a funeral. I believe the funeral was down in Atlanta. And after the funeral, he made a pit stop at MagicCity. And he was seen taking a picture with the rapper. And so what were your thoughts on that? Like him saying it was for the wings, him taking pictures. What was your whole thought on that?
That's Lou Will, man. But it was hilarious, really just hilarious. It was a great laugh. I mean, everybody was being somewhat serious about it, but I just got to go on record and say this. I've been to Magic City. I've tried the chicken wings, man. Hey, they are phenomenal, okay? Strip clubs have the best chicken wings. Now, even here in Dallas, man, you can get some great chicken wings at the strip club. But at the same time, it was, a mishap by him. But he said it was a bonding moment, a brotherhood moment. And the Clippers are fine. They're in the playoffs. They're not going to get knocked out any type of way. They're going to go to the postseason. They're looking at trying to go to the championship. So the bigger picture is he'll be there when they need him.
Yeah, so I think he has to quarantine for 10 days. He'll miss the first 2 seeding games, which, like you said, it's not really that important. Home court's out the window. We'll see if Denver can pass them. I guess the only problem I really had with it was that, like, okay, you can go pick up your wings, do whatever, or have someone else pick it up for you. But why are you taking pictures, though, for them to go out on the internet? I think it's just not aware of the situation and what's going on. So, like, you got excuse to be out the bubble. But at the same time, you can't be in a strip club and taking pictures and all that nonsense. So that was the only problem with I had. Like you said, he had a bonding moment with his brothers. But next time, Lou Will, just go ahead and have someone else pick up the wings for you, man.
Hey, Lou Will's a legend, man. This is the same Lou Will that has 2 girlfriends on social media, and they know each other and they follow each other. He's a legend, man. Lou Will.
Lou Will, the player on the court and off the court.
For real.
So, like you said, like Lou Will, the Clippers, they're going to be fine with him missing the 2 seeding games. So that leads me into the preseason predictions going into the NBA. So obviously, they've been off for about 4.5 months, or it will be 4.5 months once they start back up, which is crazy in the middle of a season. So before the season, I had the Clippers and Milwaukee in the finals. That was my prediction. I felt like with Kawhi and Paul George, that was a dynamic duo, probably top 2 duos in the league. We'll touch on that a little bit later as well with Colin Cowherds rankings. And then Milwaukee, just Giannis and just their overall team is just ridiculous in the East. I didn't really see some of the teams that stepped up in the East. I didn't see them stepping up. So I had Milwaukee there. So what was your initial thoughts as far as going into the season and your finals prediction?
Well, obviously, you hit it right there on the head with Milwaukee and their talent. But even the bigger picture with Milwaukee is they have something that they're playing for bigger than the chip, bigger than the championship. They're playing to keep Giannis in Milwaukee. I think he's been there about, 7 years. Yep. So that's that time where you get a little antsy and you like, man, do I want to stay? Do I want to go? The money is the money. I'm getting money from everywhere. I'm a max guy. So I think that they're playing for a championship. And I had Milwaukee in the championship along with the Clippers. That trade, the defense that they have, the people coming off the bench with Lou Will and Montrezl Harrell. So, yeah, we agree on that. Before the season started, I had Milwaukee and I had the Los Angeles Clippers in the finals.
Yeah, and I think that's a good point that you hit on there with Giannis and the whole staying in Milwaukee thing because, I think some reports have come out here and there, sporadically about how if he doesn't win a championship in the next 2 years, he's going to bounce. So I think playing in the bubble actually really hurt them because I feel like they had a better shot to get to the finals with home court advantage.
Home court
And
advantage, yeah.
so I think that was huge for them. So with losing that factor, I wouldn't be surprised if a team knocked them out. But, we'll get to the finals prediction later in the show. But, yeah, I definitely think you hit the nail on the head with the Giannis staying in Milwaukee factor, because that is huge. So it's bigger than just this season.
Correct.
So then do you look at it with the finals prediction, do you look at it as a fluke for whoever wins the championship this year, or you think it's just business as usual and you will move forward?
I remember when the Spurs won. I was young, obviously, but the Spurs won in the lockout season, and then everybody was like, it's a fluke. It's a shortened season. It's a fluke. But guess what? When you get older, 3, 4, 5 years go by, and you're sitting on your couch, and you're like, man, who won the finals in 98, 97, whatever that year may have been, if I'm being correct? It says the Spurs, and that's all that matters. So at the end of the day, when somebody Googles who won the NBA Finals in 2020, and it says whoever it may be, that's all that matters. So no, this is business as usual. It's basketball. There is no home court advantage. Same time, that should mean better for everybody. More well-rounded basketball. No traveling. You know what I'm saying? So I just think this is great basketball, and a lot of teams are going to be better because of this, because of the camaraderie that's going to come with it.
And I think that's important right there, man. It's going to be wide open for everybody without home court, because home court in a game 7 and, starting off a series at home with the first 2, those swing games in those series, and home court plays a big factor, and now that's gone. I mean, it's completely out the window. And I think this is going to be – I think Giannis might have touched on this one of the first 2 days they got in the bubble, saying that this is going to be the toughest championship anybody can win. And I think I agree with that, just because the home court advantage is gone. I definitely agree that there's no fluke, and whoever wins the championship is a champion. They're going to get their rings. It's going to be the same size as always. I definitely think that, we're no fluke. It is what it is. It's not like they're cheating in, like, the Astros in baseball.
Still basketball.
Right. So I want to, before we get back into just overall NBA towards the end of the show, I want to go ahead and jump into some Mavs. Obviously, they've had 2 scrimmage games at this point. They beat the Lakers on their first scrimmage game, and then they lost to Indiana the other night. So what has been your initial thoughts of the Mavs so far as they're coming back?
Just the excitement of the guys, and everybody. I got my Mavs stuff on. Just gotta represent. Just the excitement. The Mavs look like they're having the funnest time in the bubble from all the teams. The guys love each other. They're young. We're growing together. Luka's fantastic. KP, be there on time to take your COVID test so you can play.
Right, don't miss those.
But no, man. I'm just loving it. we know what the Mavs are. They're a good young team, and my initial reactions have just been, Luka is phenomenal, and I mean, goodness gracious, Seth Curry is just shooting the lights out of the bubble gym. I mean, he's killing it right now, brother.
Yeah. I think, of course, the main takeaway is just how good Luka has looked. I mean, he's looking I think a lot of people forgot Luka was battling injuries right before the shutdown happened. So, he was still putting up his numbers and, getting triple doubles here and there. And I think he was settling for his jump shot a lot more than he was early in the season when he's fully healthy. And I think he's back to attacking the rim. So that's the number one takeaway. Their best player is just back in shape. And I thought there's a lot of talk about that too, where he wasn't in shape. He was fat Luka and all that nonsense. I think he's proven that wrong right off the jump.
Right.
And I think that the one thing that stood out to me is, especially in the first game against the Lakers, was how sharp they came back offensively. I mean, they just picked up with just their historic offense that they had been carrying through all season. And I think their turnovers were a little bit of a concern for me. And they were fouling a ton. I believe they had 28 fouls in that first game against LA. They cut it down to 14 against Indiana. So I think defense is going to be crucial. And then I think we're lacking some depth as well without Brunson. Dwight Powell obviously got hurt early in the season. Willie Cauley-Stein opted out. But like you said, Seth is shooting lights out. He went 6 of 6 from 3 in his first game, and then 2 for 3 in the second game. And then Maxey, he came out on fire with 18 points in the second game. So I think those are just really just the main standouts. heading into the 8 seeding games that start Friday against the Rockets. But yeah, overall, I'm pleased with what the Mavs are doing out there.
I love Maxey, by the way. Just throw that in. I love Maxey's game, man. His ability to shoot the ball, to play defense. I love watching him grow and develop. You know, Dwight Powell. I always want more for him, but get well soon. Heal up. We need you. But man, Maxey Kleber, that's my guy.
Yeah, Colin. So with we touched on Luka a little bit. So obviously he made a huge jump from year one, winning Rookie of the Year, to year two, averaging 29, 9, and 9 for the season. So what's been your impressions of Luka in year two versus year one, and things that you think he can still improve on?
First and foremost with Luka, his free throws. When you watch him, sometimes you just get mad because he could be averaging 30 to 35 if he made his free throws. I know, you play a lot of minutes. I know you're tired, but you got to make those free throws. And when in the fourth quarter, crucial games, got to make those. But I'm not going to be too critical. Yeah, but I'm not going to be too critical of him because, goodness gracious, everything else is perfect.
Right.
The biggest jump I've noticed from year one to year two is really his ability to shoot the three better. He's really worked on his outside shoot. His 3-point shooters got a lot better. And just his patience, man. When he gets in there, he never rushes. He'll throw a couple ball fakes at the defender, and then he'll hit you with a pass that you didn't even see. So I just love his patience, and I love he's learned to be a better 3-point shooter.
Yeah, I think his understanding of the defense and just having that IQ, thinking the game, and like you say, he's seeing things like like they say with LeBron, he's seeing plays before they actually happen, and I see that same trait with Luka. And like you said, his free throw shooting definitely has to improve. I can't tell you how many games we watched this year where it's just like, come on, Luka. You're missing 6 and 7 free throws, and then you're losing the game by 5 or 6 points. And I think that's one of the biggest struggles the Mavs had before the shutdown throughout the season was their ability to finish games. It just wasn't happening. They were losing so many close games, so many tight games. And you can look at, missing free throws. And it's not just Luka with the team. And that's the sad part about it. It's just not Luka. It's the entire team. So definitely free throw shooting is something that he definitely needs to improve. And then I just think overall shot selection, I think that sometimes he settles, but I think that also had to play in the injuries that he was battling. So I'm not going to be too crucial on that. Yeah. I want to see him in these 8 seeding games in the playoffs and kind of see kind of what he's doing and if he's attacking the rim like he was early in the season. So I would say overall free throw shooting and shot selection at times is things I would like to see him improve upon.
Gotcha.
So let's talk about his running mate a little bit. So I saw this on Twitter the other day, and it was Colin Cowherds. He was talking about some of the best duos in the bubble. He listed off 10 of them. So I guess the way I'll just do this is I'll go through them and just tell me if you have a problem with where they're seated. Just tell me where you have a problem. So obviously, I think we're in agreement. LeBron and AD number 1. Kawhi and Paul George. Kawhi and Paul George number 2. But then to me, this is where I kind of have a problem. He put Jason Tatum and Kemba Walker at number 3. Your thoughts on that? I guess we can start there.
Now, I went ahead and tuned into his reasoning behind this because, like you said, head scratcher when a lot of other duos in the league, and he had them listed there. He said it was strictly based on talent. And just like you said, there's no home court. Jason Tatum's been playing really well. Kemba's been playing really well. But I would definitely have to disagree. I would move them, and where I would move them to would be somewhere later on down the line. But third on the list, Kemba's not proven as a playoff. He played in Charlotte, not his fault. Hasn't done much in playoffs. Jason Tatum, great kid, but they haven't been to like the finals, and they haven't even lost. They haven't been there. So unproven. I would definitely move them farther on down the list.
Okay. So the number 4, they got Jokic, the Joker, and Jamal Murray. So I also think they're over. I think he has them misplaced. I think Jokic is a beast. I'm not debating that. He's a monster. and he actually got in shape for this this NBA restart. So salute to him for that.
Right.
But Jamal Murray, good player, solid player, but I don't think he warrants being above some of the other duos that he has on this list. Number 5, he has Giannis and Chris Middleton. I feel like obviously Giannis speaks for himself. He's one of the top 3 NBA players in the league. But Chris Middleton, yeah, exactly. Chris Middleton, I can't do it. He has to show me a lot in this bubble. I think he's the most important Buck for Giannis to stay in Milwaukee or not. I think he's a deciding factor. If he shows he can play in the playoffs, I think Giannis will feel comfortable with staying there and his potential building in the East. But if he disappears in the bubble or in the playoffs, I think that's going to be way heavy on Giannis's decision.
I agree.
So then Luka and Porzingis came in at number 6. I think I would move them up just one spot to number 5, but we can get into that a little bit later. And then number 7, Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons.
See this is me, and no knock, being and shooting the threes now, and Embiid is Embiid. They lost in the Eastern Conference Finals last year, so they proved something. But man, I just, for me, if I'm doing this list, I'm taking them off, man, and I'll tell you, I'll replace them with at the end when we read the rest of the names, But Philly is they're one of the top seeded teams in the East, but I just don't see the camaraderie between Embiid.
That's been a big issue in Philly.
They don't play off each other. So yeah, I would take them off, and I'll let you know who I would replace them with later on.
Okay. All right. And I think Ben Simmons, like I said, Middleton's dragging Giannis down. I think Ben Simmons is dragging Embiid down, along with Embiid's injury history. So then at number 8 is Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum. And when I first saw this list, I was disrespected for Dame, to be honest.
Right.
Like, you're talking about one of the top 1-2 combos in the league, period, not just in the bubble, but period.
Right.
So to have them at 8, I felt that was a little bit disrespectful. And CJ McCollum is nice.
Right.
I can't hate on that dude. And Dame, he's done what he's done, and he's done it over years. So I felt like they were slighted. And then number 9, Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo. Honestly, with them, I don't really have a good feel on them. Honestly, like I obviously I know the type of players they are individually, but collectively, they're the number 4 seed in the East right now. Both really good players. But I need to see them in the playoffs and kind of see how that meshes and see exactly what Miami needs. I guess I can say.
And when I see that, the first thing I think is just defense. I mean, Jimmy Butler's a gritty, grimy guy. He's going to get into you. But Bam can guard the 3, 4, and the 5. I mean, he's a phenomenal defender. He's long. He's quick. You saw him win the skills competition at the All-Star break. So I think when I see that, I just think defense, and whoever does match up with Miami in the playoffs, be ready, because it's going to be very physical.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be a fight. It's going to be a fight. Number 10, they had Rudy Gobert and Donovan Mitchell. I don't really have an opinion on them. We'll see if they can work out their differences on, what they got going on with the whole, they shut down the league basically. So, right. So I don't really have a problem with, them being at 10. I think he has them slotted. Yeah. He's the COVID duo. So I guess you mentioned you would take out Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid. So let's go ahead and hear what your thoughts on your list and where you have each duo slotted.
The list is great, never knock. But if it was me, I would slide Kemba and Tatum. I would slide them to where Embiid and Simmons are, and obviously, I would put James Harden and Russell Westbrook in there. You're talking about a guy who's been in the MVP race the last 2 years, and James Harden, him alone is gonna make the list. And I heard him mention, they don't play off each other. But that's they do, because, you spread the floor for Harden and you let Westbrook stand in the corner. But the thing is, when you help off Westbrook and you try to recover, nobody's going to keep him in front of him. He was killing before the pandemic. He was averaging a lot of points. So I definitely think that he's crazy for not having Harden and Russell Westbrook on the duo list in the bubble.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people slept on that right before, because I think Russell Westbrook, when he first got to Houston at the beginning of the season, I think he was trying to play into Houston style where he was going to shoot a bunch of
Right.
threes, and that's not his game. So I think
No.
around January, February, he really got back into his game where he was attacking the rim, creating for others, and then they went to their small ball lineup where, like, he was attacking the rim and he was just kicking it out to shooters. So yeah,
Right.
that's severely disrespectful to not even have them on the list in the top 10. I mean, you easily can get Gobert and Mitchell off the list with that easily.
Right.
So,
Right.
so yeah, I think I would put Russ and Harden in my top 5 there.
Okay.
And I definitely got to move Dame and CJ up to my top 5. I got 4. And then after that, I'm going Luka and KP. I know they haven't proven it on the highest level at this point, but I think
Right.
before the shutdown happened, I think they had started finding their rhythm, playing off of each other. KP had started rounding in the form. So I have them in my top 5. And
And let
then,
me
like I
let me
said,
say this too, real quick,
yeah,
because I haven't said anything about KP. The best thing that happened to KP was Luka getting hurt. We love Luka, and
nailed
he
it.
went down, and he tried to play through it because that knee wasn't right. But when Luka was out those games, and KP was averaging 29, I mean, he was really just killing. So he was able to get his confidence back. And man, I've never seen anybody just pull up from half court so casually and it goes in like KP.
Yeah, and then I'm glad you brought that up, because he went out. They went on that East Coast road trip, and they beat Milwaukee, ended their, I think it was an 18-game winning streak. They ended that. Then they went to Philly, beat Philly in Philly without Luka. And
Right.
then they had a 30-point lead on Toronto. Of course, they blew it, but at the end of the day, it was still a 30-point lead without Luka on the
Right.
court, with KP
Right.
leading the charge. So yeah, I think
Right.
a lot of people are gonna find out a lot in this bubble about KP and Luka and how talented and still young they are. So yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. So overall, Colin Cowherds, he tried with the list, but overall, I don't agree with it. So then, staying on the Mavs, who do you have as an X factor besides Luka and KP in the bubble that you're looking to, or are you looking to have big things happen for them?
Well, you Brunson, not having Brunson, that really hurts. I love Powell, but he was already hurt, But Brunson opted for surgery. He'll be ready by next season. But man, I love him. He's a dog. Me watching it right now, Seth, it looks like he may be that third guy. But Seth is more of a catch and shoot guy. He does a little bit off the pick and roll, pick and pop. But I love Seth just catching and shooting or giving one pump fake and putting it up. So my guy that I'm desperately hoping is going to come through and at least average about 15 is Tim Hardaway. I mean, we need him. We desperately need him to be another guy that can create his own shot. We know Luka and KP can create their own, but we need another guy to say, hey, everybody else get out the way. I'm about to work. And I'm really hoping that Tim Hardaway is that guy. I heard a lot of trade rumors about him this year because I think this is the last year of his contract, or it's coming up soon, if I'm mistaken. So
Yeah, I think he has
I'm
an
hoping
option.
I'm hoping that this is his home, and I'm hoping that we don't need to go out and get anybody. So, please, Tim Hardaway, let's get it.
Yeah, and I think, and Tim Hardaway, I've had a love-hate relationship with this dude since he got here, because of course, KP was the prize. When we made that trade, getting Dennis Smith Jr. out of here, getting Wes Matthews out of here, getting DeAndre Jordan out of here. And, Tim Hardaway Jr. was looked at as like the throw-in. Just, get rid of him. He costs too much. But this year, I've been really impressed with him. He's been so impressive. He's shooting a good percentage from the field, and he's really important. But my guy in the bubble has to be Maxey. You spoke on how versatile he is earlier in the show, and just he's important. Yeah, call him. And he's important because I think when you look at him and Dorian Finney-Smith, there are two best defenders. And with a team that lacks on defense a lot, Maxey can guard a lot of different positions. He can guard certain twos. He can guard certain ones. He can guard certain fives. He can guard 1 through 5. So, and then if he can get his shot back to where it was early in the season, because in March, I believe he was shooting 32.7%. So I think he needs to get that up to about 36, 37, 38, somewhere in that range. So I think Maxi's my X factor just because he's so versatile on both ends of the court. And we're going to need him because we're a small team, without Cauley Stein and without Dwight Powell, who injured his Achilles earlier in the year. Well, in the Mavs content on how far do you see them going in the playoffs?
I see Mavs going to the second round. I think they're going to shock some teams and knock somebody out. Seeding could change because everybody's stacked up there together. So, I think the Mavs go to the second round, and I'm a MFFL to the heart, Mavs Nation, and I'm happy with that. I know what we have, and for us to go to the second round in Luka's second year, that's great. That's phenomenal. Yeah.
So now, are you one of those that's kind of like hoping, please don't get the Clippers, or are you like bring them on, whoever, bring whoever?
Nah, I don't want the Clippers. I mean, I'm not gonna sit up. I'm a fan, but one thing about me, I'm a fan of the NBA, but I just a fan of the Mavericks. The Clippers, man, that defense is serious, man. It's serious. If we somehow get the Clippers, my predictions may change, but. Yeah, man, I'm not about bring them on. Give me Denver. I'm ready for that. I'm ready for that smoke.
Yeah, and I think at this point, I am completely against playing the Clippers. I think they're the best team in the league. And then just the perimeter defense to match up with Luka. They have so many bodies that they can throw at Luka in a 7-game series. They have the coach, Doc Rivers, who I think is a little bit overrated as a coach, but he's still a good coach. And I think top 5 in the league type of coach. But yeah, I think anybody else besides the Clippers, I think I definitely see the Mavs in the second round. And I think it's just strictly off how good they are offensively. Because if they get any type of rebound or any type of consistent stops at crucial times, they're going to be a problem for anybody outside of the Clippers. So bring on Denver, bring on Utah, bring on Houston, whoever else you can bring except the Clippers. I'm with it, and I think the Mavs will be in the second round. So, all right, so let's go ahead and wrap it up with some around the NBA. So let's start with the first question I have is, who do you see making the 8th seed in the West? Obviously, we have New Orleans there, the Portland's there. Memphis is currently in the 8th spot right now. Who do you see battling out there?
Man, after watching Ja Morant today ball out again, it's tough, man. It's real tough. He's killing it. I mean, that kid is special. Bunny's like, I don't know if I've ever seen anybody like, but he reminds me of Derrick Rose, the young Derrick Rose. But with that being said, Portland, they're healthy. They still got Melo. They added him. They got Nurkic back. They got Collins back. So I'm going to go ahead and say confidently that Portland will get that 8th spot. They'll beat out Memphis by 1 game.
Okay. So I think I see – and I think what's going to play to Portland's advantage, because I agree with you, I think they're going to end up taking the 8th seed. And the NBA really kind of made it really beneficial for them because all they have to do is stay within 4 games and they get a best of 3. So I love Ja Morant as a player. We'll get to the Rookie of the Year predictions here in a second. But I think Ja Morant is a combination between like Derrick Rose when he was younger, but I also think he's a combination of Russell Westbrook and Damian Lillard. Just the smoothness that he plays with it, like Dame, and then he has the athleticism as well. The sky's the limit for him. But yeah, I think I see Portland taking it in the 8th seed in that best of 3 series that they're going to come down to. And like you said, Nurk is back, Collins is back, McCollum is nice, Dame is nice, Melo's back at his home position at the 3. So I think they have so much talent, and they got young talent too with Gary Trent and Simon coming off the bench. So I think they'll have enough to squeak out Memphis and get that 8th seed and take on the Lakers. And then, we'll see what happens there in the 7-game series without home court.
That'll be good. It's going to be real good. It's going to be real good. Yeah. I heard a lot of crazy stuff, but don't believe the hype. We'll get to that later.
Yeah, definitely. And I think the size between Portland and LA is going to be really interesting because, of course, the Lakers have AD, JaVale, Dwight, but then, the Portland's coming with Whiteside, Nurk, and Collins. So it's going to be an interesting kind of like old school battle of big men kind of. And then, of course, LeBron and AD versus Dame and CJ. And Portland did make the Western Conference Finals last year. I think people forget that because, they did get swept by the Warriors, but I think they have that experience. So I think I definitely see Portland getting to the playoffs, and we'll see what happens from there.
Right.
So let's go ahead and wrap it up with the NBA season awards and our finals prediction. So I want to start with the MVP. Who do you have winning the MVP?
I have Come on, man. I got that king. The king, man. The same person that everybody said, he on the East. He in the East. That's why he doing what he doing. He keep going to the finals because he in the East. I got the king, man. Number 1 seed in the West. LeBron James, MVP. As old as he is, to still be able to do what he's doing with a new group of guys.
Year 17.
I'm sold.
Yeah, year 17, LeBron. I think I definitely have to give it to him. I think he's elevated Anthony Davis's game as well. I think Anthony Davis is obviously already a monster, but I think LeBron's actually teaching him the way to work, the way to win. It's crazy. He's went 7 years without winning MVP, which he's been the best player in the NBA for a lot of those years, and he's been overlooked. So I think this year 17, LeBron, I think this is where it ends, and I think he's going to take home the MVP. And that's no disrespect to Giannis, because obviously, like I said earlier, he's a top 3 player in the league. But I think I got to give it to the king this year, doing it in the West.
Yes, sir.
All right, and then defensive player of the year, who you got in that?
Man, purple and gold, Anthony Davis.
Yeah.
Man, that cat right there, quick enough, to get out there on the perimeter and help out with the pick and roll, but just a tremendous shot blocker. I want to say he's averaging almost two blocks a game. I want to say, I could be mistaken, but I want to say he's averaging about 2.4. So almost 3. You know what I'm saying? Up 2.5. So yeah, sick, man. Anthony Davis, defensive player of the year. It's simple, easy for me.
Yeah, and I'm actually gonna go just because I didn't want to be too Lakers centric. So I'm gonna go with Giannis, and just so I feel like their defense in the East, he can guard 1 through 5, and
correct.
He steals, he has blocks, and I think Budenholzer, he puts him in real good spots defensively to make plays defensively, because I think they have a disadvantage with the Lopez brother, Brook Lopez, playing the center. He's not great defensively, so I think he spends a lot of time covering up for him. So I'm gonna go ahead and give Giannis the nod. Although I think Anthony Davis is a beast defensively as well. So yeah, I'm going Giannis with that one, but I can make a case for Anthony Davis as well. So then let's go right into the most improved player. And there's a bunch of names I think you can go with this award. And I think I'm going with Bam from Miami. I think him coming up as he's the second best player on the team behind Jimmy Butler. And he has his team at the 4th seed in the East. I think a lot of people coming into the season didn't have Miami, or they maybe had them making the playoffs just because it was the East, but maybe the 7th, 8th seed, somewhere in that ballpark. And they're the 4th seed, and I think they can make some noise in the East. And so I think Bam is my most improved player.
Okay. Hey, he, like I said, he's a beast. He's an athlete, to say the least. Me, on the other hand, just seeing what this dude had to put up with last season, and for this season, for them to even be, thinking or in mention of making the playoffs, I'm going to go with Brandon Ingram and the Pelicans. I mean, just that whole last year debacle for the Lakers and Lonzo Ball and Josh Hart and just the Twitter beef and the depression that obviously came with moving from L.A. to New Orleans. Trust me, I've been to New Orleans. It's nice, but it ain't L.A. So I would just say, Brandon Ingram, don't get Zion was hurt for a lot of the season, and they still were winning games. They were being competitive. They have an awesome coach in Albert Gentry. He's phenomenal. But I think that Brandon Ingram had a huge leap this year, and I think he's only going to get better. So, yeah, I would go with Brandon Ingram as my most improved player.
And he's going to get a max contract. If it's not by the Pelicans, it's going to be by somebody else in the league. So, yeah, Brandon Ingram, he's nice. And it's crazy when you think back at when the trade rumors were going down for the Anthony Davis, and the Lakers were kind of more willing to trade Ingram than they were to trade Kuzma, which is crazy to me looking back at it now. So yeah, that's tough. So yeah, Brandon Ingram, he's a monster. He's a monster. I love his game, man, too. He's smooth. And it's crazy because I also remember thinking back when he first came into the league where I bought into the hype where a lot of people were saying he might be like the KD clone,
Next KD.
Same type of build. Yeah. Yeah, and then he wasted a couple years in LA, and it was like this dude ain't nowhere near KD. But now going to New Orleans, new situation where he was the man for most of the year. He's nice, man.
Yeah, and shout out to Lonzo. Shout out to them balls, man. Shout out to Lonzo too. Had a nice bounce back season. Shot the three a lot better.
Shoot now.
And those guys are young, man. They got to understand everybody develops at different speeds. So, I still think they're going to have a great team. Bring Ingram back, Ball back, Zion. They got that kid from Texas, the center. I can't think of his name right now. He's a great kid, big guy. So I think they have a lot of young talent over there in New Orleans.
I agree on that. I think was it Hayes in New Orleans?
Yes, Hayes. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's keep it moving, and let's go to Sixth Man of the Year. So this seems like it's the Lou Williams Award, but I'm gonna go away from that. But I'm gonna give it to this team, man. I'm gonna stay in LA. I'm gonna give it to Montrez. I feel like Trez needs some love, and I think at the beginning of the season there was a lot of talk about he may not be happy with LA because they might not pay him and different things like that. But all he does is go out there and ball. He's an undersized center, but he's a beast. He's a monster on the boards. He gets to the rim and he puts up points. So I'm gonna give him the Sixth Man of the Year this year, just because he's a slept-on guy.
Yeah, we in agreement with this. Just like MVP with King James, I agree. It's so funny, watching them because you watch the game and they're not out there in the first, but in the fourth quarter when it's crunch time, Montrezl Harrell is out there. Most of the time, Lou Will is out there. Unless Beverly may be coming in for defensive purposes. But Montrezl Harrell is always on the floor at the end of the game. Zubac, not so much. So I think Montrezl Harrell is slept on. He's a great glue guy, good energy guy, and you can tell people don't like to play against him. So, when you look at those,
so
when you got Kawhi, and then you got Montrezl too in the paint, man, six man.
It's nasty, man. It's nasty, man. The Clippers, their defense just as a whole, but they got some dogs. They got a team full of dogs over there, man. So, and that's why, I don't need the Mavs playing them. We're more of a kind of finesse team, and we don't need to be going into a fight with a bunch of bullies. So then let's finish it off with the awards and go with the Coach of the Year in the NBA. Who you got with that?
This was tough, and obviously, I guess when I say this, people might be hating. They might say I'm going like a crazy over here, and a lot of times, let's be honest, people say LeBron is the true coach of the Lakers, but Frank Vogel, outcasted out of Indiana a while back and come back strong. They got some great assistant coaches over there too on the roster. Don't get it twisted. But for him to bring those group of guys together, the way that he's brought those group of guys together, Dwight Howard, Danny Green, Kuz, LeBron, AD, Rondo. So to bring those group of guys together, man, to be number one in the West, I'm going with Frank Vogel as my NBA Coach of the Year.
And then when you list the cast of characters, even though J.R. Smith's only played in these little bubble games, you add him, you add Dion Waiters.
JaVale McGee.
Yeah, man. It's a cast of characters over there. So I'm telling you, if LeBron finds a way to pull this off, I think this would be his best work other than, after taking the Cleveland team to the finals in 2007. And I do want to throw in a quick Mavs update right now. They're up 24-13 on Philadelphia, and the only reason I'm bringing this up is because I looked down at the box score, and KP has a quick 13 points and 5 rebounds in 9 minutes played in the first quarter. So I think that's a great sign. See,
He's
exactly.
Mad. He's mad he missed last game. Yeah. He's showing his teammates, I'm sorry, my bad.
Yeah, so I definitely wanted to bring that up, and like I said, the only reason I brought it up is because that stood out to me. So let's go ahead and wrap this up with our NBA Finals prediction. I know we both had Milwaukee and LA to start the year, and so where are you at with it now? I know you told me, before we started here that you had switched up. So what you switched to?
Still actually having Milwaukee coming out of the East. Like I said, this is just a big year, man. And at the end of the day, I like Boston. But even though Boston has a lot of weapons, do they have a go-to weapon? That's what I always ask myself. Who gonna get the ball at the end? You gonna give it to Kimber? You give it to Tatum? You still got Gordon Hayward. You got Horford. Who's gonna take the big shot? So that's what I ask myself with them. So I think that Milwaukee will come out of the East, but bubble, no home court, and the biggest thing, no travel. I have the Lakers coming out of the West over the Clippers, and just LeBron, even though they had home court advantage, no traveling, and the crazy part is maybe they didn't have to travel anyway. Maybe they would have been playing the Clippers, but we won't ever know that. So, I do have the Lakers coming out. Yeah, that would have been crazy. That would have been super epic and super lit.
LA
but I have
LA.
Lakers, I have Milwaukee. Lakers and Milwaukee, NBA Finals.
All right. I can get down with that. However, I haven't changed at all, honestly. Like, I think because I was actually, before the shutdown happened, I was actually leaning towards the Lakers beating the Clippers in a series, just because the Clippers were adding, guys like Reggie Jackson and just a bunch of just random guys, it seemed like to me, that just weren't meshing. And then there was some rumor of some turmoil in the locker room, so I wasn't really sure about them. But now I think going away from LA and actually having to be a team in a bubble, I think that plays to their advantage. And I also think the losses of Rondo, I think he's going to be back at some point during this restart. But losing Avery Bradley, a perimeter defender, I think that hurt him. And I think that's going to keep him out of the Western Conference final, or out of the finals. I still think they'll be able to get to the Western Conference finals, LA, the Clippers, but I think the Clippers will go ahead and take them in a hard-fought 7-game series. And then on the East, Milwaukee, honestly, I'm not as confident as I am on the Clippers with the West, just because I think that not having home court advantage is going to hurt them in some way. But I just don't have a team. Like you mentioned, Boston, I don't really believe in them. And Toronto, I don't really see that happening. Miami, I don't really know what to make of them in the playoff format. So I think they're going to make it by default. So I have the Clippers and Milwaukee in the finals, and I have the Clippers winning it in 6 or 7 games.
And hey, I don't knock it. And my only response to Rondo and Avery Bradley, I definitely know they're gonna miss those guys. If Rondo does come back, I don't know. They miss him defensively. But I love the Waiters addition. One thing about Waiters and also J.R. Smith, they have something to prove. Both these guys are virtually out of the league. To think about Waiters 2-3 years ago, we're talking about one of the best three-point shooters in the league a couple years ago with Waiters, and he's sitting at home on the couch. So I think he has something to prove in this bubble. So I think, how he performs, we'll see if a team will give him a contract moving forward. So I look for Waiters to give them a good, maybe 8 or 9 off the bench. JR come in and give you 5 or 6. And, hopefully that can, Bradley was balling. Bradley had a couple big games. Rondo, you never know what you get from him, but he's always a pest. He's a good defensive player. So hopefully,
except in Dallas,
offset.
Yeah, Rondo's a pest everywhere except Dallas in the playoffs. You had headband Rondo, playoff Rondo, and he came here and just sat down on the bench, man. I can't. I don't want anything successful for him in his professional career. He's a clown to me. I just had to get that out there, though. But yeah, before we get out of here, do you have any last words? Where can we find you? What are you up to as far as like the media game? And just tell the people where they can find you.
Man, you can get at me, Sports So Simply on IG. Get at me, J Ray Simply on Twitter. I'm big involved in the high school sports in the Metroplex. Trust me, man. If you've been to a big time high school game, you've seen me there. So in September, when these football games start back up, I'll have a lot of content. I work with Friday Night Glory. Me and my Sports So Simply brand. We coexist with them, and we do a lot of work with them, promoting the high school kids, helping them get scholarships, and just getting them highlight reels to give to scouts, and man. So that's what I'm doing right now. But I'm always gonna love the NBA, the NFL. So yeah, get at me on IG, get at me on Twitter. Mainly, I'm an IG guy. So like I said, get at me, Sports So Simply on Instagram. Follow me, my YouTube, S3TV. Got that going, still building that up. We got about 4 or 5 videos on there, so I'll have some little visuals and things going on. So S3TV on YouTube, but that's it, man. Just staying out the way and trying to stay COVID free.
Yeah, exactly. I feel that. But yeah, man, I appreciate you joining me. Like you said, find him on all social media. I'll post the ats in the description below. But yeah, man, I appreciate you joining us. Like, it's been a long time coming for this. Glad we finally connected, and hopefully we can work together going forward in some capacity. So I appreciate it. And this does it for the Mr. Douglass Sports Show, episode 13. Until next time, salute.